My name is Jude Geoman, and I welcome you to today's edition of Citizens Forum, exclusively on Sapientia's channel. We'll try to make this connection and then begin the conversation right away. Hello, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning and welcome to Citizens Forum on Sapientia.
Thank you.
All right, and my guest today on Citizens Forum is Kabiru Saidu Dakata. He's the Executive Director, Center for Awareness on Justice and Accountability. Of course, Mr. Kabiru is a graduate member of the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. He's a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, holds an M.Sc in Peace and Conflict Resolution, or MScs in Peace and Conflict Resolution, in Development Studies, Business Administration, and of course a B.Sc degree in Economics. Also an Advanced Diploma in Law. Too many feathers on that cap, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let me begin by asking you, what's the mood in Kano State today? The NNPP, of course, declared winner by INEC in that election that so many of us thought was revolutionary. We thought 2023, whatever the gains, whatever the losses, but then we thought it brought two things to the table. And we saw the revolution in Kano State, where the winner was NNPP, neither APC nor the PDP. Also in Abia State, where we also saw the Labour Party announced winner by INEC, also not PDP, not APC. So some of us as Nigerians thought, okay, this is somewhere to build as we continue to talk about our democracy in Nigeria, talk about opposition politics. So let's begin with what the mood is today. The NNPP and the APC have sworn that they are both protesting today on the streets of Kano.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And like you said, the mood in Kano is to some extent bad. But I want to correct an impression.
All right.
The action is not only taken by NNPP and APC members.
Okay.
The ordinary people of the state are also reacting to the situation, because we are talking of people giving mandate to the person they believe can protect their interests and make their lives better.
Yeah.
So it's beyond just NNPP and APC,
Okay.
but it concerns almost everybody in the state.
All right.
So at the moment, there is tension in the state. Nobody can tell you what is likely to happen in the next 1 hour. And we all know the reason for that. This is Kano State. Kano people are civilized. They know their rights. They know their political rights. Even before the 2023, they have the history of going their own direction, irrespective of the direction of maybe the party that is controlling the center. We have seen that even in 2003, when an ANPP candidate defeated PDP's candidate, and at that time, Obasanjo, did not, maybe refuse to allow the mandate of the people to be declared. Also in 2007, the same governor Shekarau then defeated PDP's candidate, and Obasanjo allowed that to stand. So Kano people have that history. So in 2019, a similar thing happened. This current governor of the state, Kabiru, contested under the platform of PDP.
Mm-hmm.
He defeated the then governor Abdullahi Ganduje, and the INEC and also of security agencies, manipulated the process and declared the election inconclusive. During the rerun, the then governor, because he was in power then, he hired talks from neighboring states and even from the Niger Republic. They came and intimidated voters, and at the end, the election was rigged and he was declared as the winner. In 2023, this man, Kabiru, adopted a small political party. You understand? Because he belongs to a very strong movement in the state called the Kwankwasiya movement. That movement is so strong to the extent that they can adopt a small political party and make it very powerful just within days or months. So that's exactly what happened before the 2023 election. They adopted that political party that at the time of the election did not have even a single councillor in the state, but they got 2 of the 3 senators. They got 18 from the 24 House of Rep members. They got 26 from the 40 House of Assembly members. They won the gubernatorial election. Their presidential candidate won Kano State with almost 1 million votes. So their main concern, the APC, is the state. With this background I gave you, it's enough to tell the president that this political party is the one that won the election. But even before the election, what the leaders of APC in the state were saying is, no matter what, whatever the situation, we know we are not going to win this election. But even if Abba, that is the NNPP's candidate, wins the election, we are going to snatch away the power because we have the center, we have our godfathers. Our godfathers promised us that whatever the situation, we cannot leave Kano in the hands of opposition. Kano is too strategic, it's too important for us to be left in the hands of opposition. And this is undemocratic and is an invitation of crisis to the state.
All right. Thanks for that, wonderful background to the issues in Kano State. And one will agree with you. I mean, right from the days of Aminu Kano, even the late Chinua Achebe, in his very little book, The Trouble with Nigeria, the last chapter, which seemed to be an afterthought, because he seemed to have finished that book, a book he wrote in honor of a promise he made to the late Mamman Vatsa. And he said, he called that, I think he called it the Aminu Kano example or so. He ended by saying that Nigeria will never be the same because Aminu Kano lived here. Now, when we look at the politics of Kano State today and the Kwankwasiya movement, it tends to remind every Nigerian who follows, the Nigerian story, that this seems to be a resurrection of that Aminu Kano movement of the Talakawas. But then this is what I'm going to ask you right now. Today, it now seems as if all is set. NNPP is going to lose that seat. I don't know. I wouldn't know what the Supreme Court would, because this seems to be a matter that would definitely end in the Supreme Court. But are the people of Kano State preparing their minds? This reminds one of what happened in Imo State. I'm trying to talk about the consequences of this kind of a crisis. What happened in Imo State today? Imo State is a no-go area in the southeast. Unfortunately, the southeast used to be the most peaceful region. At least the southeast gave itself a pat on the back about that. But the genesis of what happened in Imo State, one can trace down to the Supreme Court wading in, a governor who the people, rightly or wrongly, think did not win that election is announced winner. And today, the center cannot hold in Imo State. Are the people of Kano State preparing their minds that, well, if however this goes, if the courts snatch this from us, if the courts rules differently from what we think, then we might need to let peace lie and then wait another 4 years? Or do you think, judging from the mood in Kano State, is something different?
You see, this is a question that cannot be answered in just yes or no. But if history is something to go by, I can tell you that is not going to be welcomed by the people of Kano State if it goes the negative way. Because, you see, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Politicians should see politics as a means of serving the people. It shouldn't be a do-or-die affair, So what the APC's members or leaders are doing in Kano State is like, for them, this game is a do-or-die. This man that contested under the platform of APC, when he lost the election, he came out and congratulated the governor of Kano State.
Yes, he did.
And asked his people to wait for the next 4 years. Because he he himself admitted the fact that he was defeated. But here we have a party that said, no, even though you considered that defeat, even though you said you're not going to court, what we have in mind, we're going to snatch that power. We must make Kano be ruled by APC. And the people of the state have expressed their mind that we don't need you. You have not performed to the extent that we can give you a mandate. You embarrassed us. They told the former governor, you embarrassed us. Who in this country and even internationally is not aware of the embarrassment the former governor brought to the state? You understand? It's one of the reasons. People say, we don't need you, we don't need your party. We need this person because this person belongs to a movement that is making the son of a poor to become somebody in life. This Kwankwasiya movement is busy taking sons and daughters of Kano people to international, universities, to different countries, to sit side by side with the children of governors, with the children of ministers. When they finish the study, they come back to Kano. Some of them will remain in other countries. We now have people in America, we have people in UK, we have people in different countries, earning a living in those countries and, sending money back home to take care of their poor families. This is what the Kwankwasiya movement stands for, and that is why the people of Kano State can at any time come out to give their vote to this movement. So my advice here is, if the decision goes different direction, it's not going to be welcomed by the people of Kano State. So there is a political solution and there's also a legal solution to this problem. I know, with the little knowledge I have in law, the case of Kabiru in court is not a case. If you check, number of judgments have been given in similar cases where both the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court said issue of membership is not an issue that can be brought before the election tribunal. It's a party affair. At worst, if you want to contest that in court, it should be a pre-election matter. What that means is, if you and me belong to the same party and you contested for a particular position, and just because I'm a member of that party, I cannot sue you for whatever complaint I have, because I don't have locus to challenge you. Yeah. Do you understand? It's only somebody that contested that election with you that was not satisfied with the conduct of the primary election that can go to court. This issue has been settled severally, but in the case of Kabiru, they used that to disqualify him, to say he was not a member of the NNPP as at the time of the election. So you see a clear sentiment. So the legal, solution to this is for the Supreme Court to do the needful, to do justice. The first judgment at the tribunal brought serious embarrassment and ridiculed the entire judicial system of this country, because Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna, who considered defeat, and was not a member of that case, was not a party in the matter, was mentioned in the tribunal judgment to be the petitioner in the case. He was not the petitioner. It was only APC that took the matter to court. In all the governorship election petition cases that took place in the state and that are still taking place, it's only Kano State that has one plaintiff. That is the political party. In all the states, you see the political party and the defeated candidate. And you have INEC, the winning party and the winning candidate as respondents. But in Kano State, it's only the party. But that judgment at the tribunal, you understand, mentioned Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna as the petitioner, which he was not. It's a clear indication that there was a serious sentiment in that judgment. Number two, at the Court of Appeal, situation where the oral judgment given in court on the 17th of this month declared Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna as the winner. But the written judgment, the CTC copy of the written judgment, clearly indicated that it was Abba Kabiru Yusuf that won that case, because it was clearly written that all the issues have been resolved in favor of the plaintiff and against the first respondent, which is APC. And it went ahead to say the judgment of the lower court, that is the tribunal, is hereby set aside. It also went further to say the first respondent should pay 1 million naira to the appellant, that is to the current governor. And somebody will come to tell you it is an error. Which kind of error? Which kind of error? You don't need to be a lawyer to know that what really happened is the clear judgment. When the judges had their conscience, the judgment was given to Abba Kabiru Yusuf. But at the late hour, they were asked to change the judgment, and God in His wisdom did not allow them to change that very critical and very important page, which shows that it is Abba Kabiru Yusuf that won the case based on the facts and the evidences presented before the Court of Appeal. So I think the legal solution to this is for the Supreme Court, which is not an ordinary court, but it's a policy court, and it has precedent on the two major issues that can make Abba Kabiru Yusuf to reclaim his mandate. Number one is this issue of membership. Number two is the issue of a witness who was not filed in the first 21 days. It has been settled in the case of judgment of the presidential election, and also recently in the case of Nasarawa State Governor. So we think and we believe the Supreme Court will do the needful. The political solution, if I can advise, Tinubu, all these things that are happening, Tinubu and his people are eyeing and planning for 2027 election. Can Tinubu continue to work with people who are not popular in their state? Can Tinubu afford to take share? Tinubu lost his state. Tinubu lost Kano. Tinubu needs Lagos State. Tinubu needs Kano in 2027. The wise decision for Tinubu is to look for people that can help him deliver his state Lagos and deliver Kano. How can he do that? This man, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, is his friend. In 1999, they were elected governors. Tinubu of Lagos, Rabi Kwankwaso of Kano. Rabi Kwankwaso today, yes, he contested the 2023 presidential election. But I'm assuring you, if Tinubu can extend a hand of friendship to Rabi Kwankwaso, that he wants to work with him, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso can accept that invitation. So I'm advising Tinubu to use a political solution, invite Rabi Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasiya movement to come and join forces with him and see what will happen in 2027. If he will work with Ganduje, he can contest election in Nigeria 100 times. If Kwankwaso is not with him, he will not win Kano. Ganduje cannot deliver Kano for him. So the political solution to this issue is for Tinubu to join forces with Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. I'm assuring you, if they do that, Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasiya movement can do to Tinubu what they did to Buhari in 2015, where they gave Buhari almost 2 million votes from Kano. Tinubu cannot continue working with political liability. He needs people who can add value to his campaign, who can add value, who can sell him, not people who can damage him because of their reputation.
All right. Let me take you up on what you just said. You talked about the political solution. And the political solution you did advocate is, okay, Mr. President, you have the APC. Everybody knows you have the APC. But then extend that hand of fellowship to Mr. Kwankwasiya because he leads the Kwankwasiya movement and work with him. Like you said, Ganduje cannot deliver. That is Kano State politics. But then let's talk about opposition politics in Nigeria generally, okay? This is the best time for us to begin to have this conversation around opposition politics in Nigeria. There are some death blows being given to opposition politics in Nigeria. And these death blows, it's very important we start to talk about them right now because without opposition, democracy is dead. One of the death blows, of course, we see comes from the courts. That is it, comes from the courts. The second death blow we also do see is this crafty, selfish narrative that was initiated by politicians and has been sustained by politicians. So sustained has this narrative been by politicians that politicians have been able to penetrate the media with this, and the media continues today to sell that wrong narrative to the people. And what is this narrative? Join the ruling party so you get connected to the center. Whether you're going to go to the north, you have examples of this. You come to the west, there are examples of this. You come to the south, you come to the east. Politicians will always try to energize their base by telling them, wait a minute, we can't play opposition. Opposition is dangerous for you. Join the ruling party so you get connected to the center. Now, this is a dangerous narrative because it cuts against the very grain of democracy. And that is when you are elected, it doesn't matter at what level. If you're elected a governor, then the state ceases to be a political field for you to conquer. It is a space for you to govern. And so you govern people, you provide security for everyone, you provide amenities for everyone. It doesn't matter their political divide. Also, when you become president, you have no right. Immediately you take that out of office, you lose the right to be partisan. Then you become somebody who governs the entire country. It doesn't matter what their ethnic, religious, political divide is. Now, we are selling this narrative that is dangerous to democracy. So the question I'm going to ask you is this. There is a call from some quarters that says, okay, look at what has happened with 2023 elections. And let us analyze what has happened with 2023 elections. It just tells us that the opposition will get nowhere, except they have whatever anyone calls it. It could be it could be working together, it could be merging, it could be joining forces. However they're going to have this political arithmetic, the opposition must come together and work. But you seem to be suggesting that what should happen is, well, Mr. President is president, the Kwankwasiya movement should gravitate towards that. What is your take on how we strengthen the opposition in Nigeria such that there is a space for opposition to function, and not just function by existing on paper, but function by playing the very role opposition should play in a democracy, which is holding government accountable and ensuring that the people get the best out of those whom they have elected?
You see, my major problem with the opposition of the current political system is that they are not good students of politics. In 2015, we saw a revolution, political revolution, so to say, where we had three opposition parties came together to form what we have today as APC.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that, brought the end of PDP's 16 years ruled.
Yeah.
Remember, PDP before claimed that they will rule this country for 60 years. But because of that,
merger,
the opposition parties snatched away the power from the PDP. But the opposition parties of 2023 did not learn from that lesson. You understand? As at the time of the election, like few months before the primary election, all the major three opposition presidential candidates were in PDP. But because of the inability of PDP to manage the internal crisis in the party at that time, both Peter Obi and Rabi Musa Kwankwasiya left the party. You understand? So I think they did not learn from that lesson of 2015 that led to the merger. And for them, to come and be experiencing this. You see, one thing that the ruling party of today is doing is they are dividing and trying to, no, their own is not divide and rule. It's divide and intimidate, divide and exploit. You understand? They finished the presidential candidate of PDP and Labour Party through a court process. And now they are dealing with Kwankwasiya, who did not even go to the court to challenge Tinubu's victory. You understand, like what the Labour Party and PDP did.
Yeah.
So they did not learn anything from what happened in 2015. But I agree with you. There's still time for them, especially that Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, both of them contested in 2019 under the platform of PDP. Peter Obi was Atiku's running mate. It's still not late for them. It needs to come together and start preparing ahead of 2027. But unless they keep that personal sentiment aside, it's not going to work, because the ruling APC can be anywhere. Look at the recent crisis in the Labour Party, the recent crisis in the NNPP. You understand?
Yeah.
You think it's just an internal thing? It's not. It's APC that is using some bad eggs among them, to be funding them, going to court, do this, so that there will not be peace in those political parties. So the major opposition parties now have time. If need be, they should unite and start working towards 2027, but not just towards 2027, so that people will not think democracy begins and ends with just election. No, let them unite and give this current government a serious and constructive opposition, so that the lives of the people of Nigeria can be better. The government will be sensible.
Yeah.
But if our opposition parties continue to remain the way they are, so they themselves will not see a good result, and their silence, will continue to jeopardize the lives of Nigerians. So the opposition parties can still change things, but unless they keep that personal sentiment aside.
Yeah. All right. Now let me ask you this question, and it's one that is very dear to my heart. Now I listen to you talk, and I listen to how committed you are to the process, and you happen not to be a card-carrying member of any political party, but you are a citizen, and you are disinvolved, and you are disinformed about what is going on. Now, post-2020, in fact, pre-2023, we all know voter apathy has always been a problem in Nigeria. But post-2023, the naysayers have been very wild. I mean, I present a political program, and I get to engage people, and you get to see even the loudest, even the loudest happen to be the most pessimistic and spread some kind of narrative. But then, I look at Kano State. And there is something that amazes me, right? And we see, the election of, was it 2015 or 2019? Yeah, I think it was 2019. I recall that scenario you painted where the election was declared inconclusive, and then on election day, we got coverage of it, where you saw polling unit to polling unit was being infiltrated by, stick-bearing and cudgel-bearing thugs who chased people away, and that was how that election was won and lost. But it amazes me that the next election cycle in Kano State, you still see the people, even after that ugly experience, pour out, and the result is still same. The same person who they thought should have won still won the election, right? And then you see that level of optimism. And then you also come to what has happened. I mean, yesterday, the one that shocked me really was a people sitting in Abuja did call out INEC, calling INEC partisan, that INEC dances naked in the market and all of that. Now, so from INEC to the courts, to the police, you can go on and on, to even the political class. When all of these things happen, same negative thing happens to people of Kano State, for instance. But then the next election, you still see these people come out and they are committed. But then I take a look around, and I'm in the Southeast, and some people might not want to hear this, but this is simply the truth. Now, when you talk about elections and a negative things happen, now you see the people of the Southeast most especially wave that card and tell you, you see, there's going to be voter apathy. Some will even tell you outrightly, they say it right now, I'm going to burn my voter's card. Some will tell you, I will never come out to vote, and all of that. When you tell them, okay, participate. In fact, I've heard people, not one, not two, call us out in the media and say, well, you even need to apologize to us because you were the people who told us to come out and vote. Now, we've come out and vote. It didn't go our way. But I'm just trying to wonder, what kind of political orientation do you guys out there have that seems to be missing here, where even the most negative thing, I mean, worse things happen in your climb, and I can give examples of that, including insecurity. But it doesn't deter the people to come out and participate. But then back here, same thing or less thing happens, and you find everybody telling you, in fact, it's over for me, I'm not coming out. Can you speak to that political orientation that is so markedly different?
You see, a good product, does not need too much advertisement. You understand? Like I said, this is a system where you have two, major actors.
All right.
The Kwankwasiya and the Ganduji. You understand? Kwankwasiya during his first term, he set a foundation for the state to survive. But unfortunately, he didn't get the second term in 2003. But he waited. He came back in 2011 and continued from where he stopped. In that second term, he made the people of Kano State to feel to be important and relevant, not only in the local environment, but also in the international environment.
All right.
Because he did what was strange, a remarkable revolution in the state. Just people woke up one morning and had an announcement that if you have a 2-1, bring your papers to the Ministry of Education. If you have 9 credits, bring your papers to the Ministry of Education. People thought it's going to be a just political thing. Some that submitted got called from the ministry that, okay, you've been selected, come for interview. After the interview, preparation started. Some of them were taken to America, to Ingila, to Germany, to Jordan for pilot, medicine, engineering, law, and other courses. You understand? For some of them that were going for their first degree, they were taken to national universities and international universities. In that 4 years, he sponsored more than 5,000 indigenes of Kano State. And that's somebody that is more concerned, with the people of the poor. When the first, in the 2011 when he started, if he saw he sees your name, so, and he knows that your surname is your family name, and knows that your family can afford that registration fee, he will just jokingly tell you, no, don't worry, I'll call your father. I know he will pay for you. I will ask him to pay for you. Leave this slot for us. We will give it to somebody that whose parents cannot afford. this is what he did. In addition to the infrastructure he put in place in the state. So this is why if election will take place 100 times, so long as Kwankwasiya is alive and is supporting a candidate and a political party, I don't see a reason why a Kano person will not vote for Kwankwasiya. So it's not anything, no any theoretical, political, orientation. It's just that belief of the people that if this man gets, I will get. Do you understand? This is just about it. There's something he forgot. In the 2023 election, the APC came to the polling units with cash in Ghana Mosbu and textile materials for both male and female. They will ask you, go and vote, come back, you take your 5,000 and a wrapper for women. You understand? The women will collect the 5,000, will collect the wrapper. When they enter to the cubicle to cast their vote, they will vote for NNPP. What is this telling you? People are becoming civilized to know that, no, it's not just about what I will be given today. It's about my future. It's about the future of my children. It's about the future of my children. It's about going with people we tested and trusted than going with people that we tested and got disappointed. So it doesn't need any researcher to take time to research to understand what is happening in Kano. It's a just simple political arithmetic. People believe in someone that they know he has impacted, their lives. So they will continue to give him that trust. And look at this current governor. Just 6 months. We are talking of 6 months. He has now sponsored 1,001 indigenes of Kano State to go and obtain their second degree in different universities around the world. Almost 2/3 of them are now in those universities. He paid everything. He's now planning to pay the backlog of all the gratuities of the retirees. He's making a plan to give startup capital to women. He's making a plan to get so many things. So it doesn't take one, a year or two to understand that this is the reason why the people of Kano State are dying for a particular person and they are not, ready to work to support another person. This is just the thing in Kano.
All right, you painted all of this picture, and you seem to also tally to when you come down here and also talk to young Nigerians across the country. They seem to say the same thing you said, being responsible for the revolution in 2023, where we saw lots of young people queue around the Labour Party. So I think this is simply a message out there to the political class that Nigerians know actually what they want. And if only you get your acts right, Nigerians are going to flock around you. I want to thank you for being a part of this program. You really cleared the air, especially around the mood in Kano State. And we really stand in solidarity with the people of Kano State. And we hope there is a wonderful political solution to all of this, because what no one wants to see is leading to bloodshed and protected violence. We don't have need for that right now, especially in a country where people have been so battered economically. I don't think we need that. And also in a region where insecurity, the country generally, in a country where insecurity is a major issue. Thank you very much, Mr. Kabiru Saidu Dakata.
Give me just 30 seconds to build on something you said that is very important.
All right, please do that.
It's not only about the insecurity of the north or the insecurity of the country.
Yeah.
It's about the regional politics itself. We have our president as a very important person in ECOWAS.
Yeah.
This man is busy, strengthening democracy in some African countries where there was a military intervention. He's busy strengthening democracy in Mali. strengthening democracy in Burkina Faso, strengthening democracy in Niger Republic, asking the military junta to leave and bring back democracy. But unfortunately, we are experiencing this. So I think we need to be careful. We need to know, our role as key stakeholders in the regional politics and also in the international community, because when the coup d'etat happened in Niger Republic, most of the world leaders, including Joe Biden and other world leaders, called Tinubu to start, discussing how to find solution in those countries.
Yeah.
So I need to remind people that Kano, as a state, has an equal population to each one of the three countries I mentioned. So the same effort that Tinubu is making to address the, democratic challenges in those countries, he needs to give the same, concentration to make sure democracy is not tampered with in Kano State, in northern Nigeria, and in Nigeria at large.
All right, thank you. I think that was a beautiful way to end this. Thank you, and God bless you. We'll definitely keep in touch to know what's going on.
You're always welcome.
All right, all right.